Good morning, YouTube. This is Joshua Watts with Watts Leatherworks. So, I have it's not another build. Actually, I don't talk very much on these YouTube videos, if you can't tell. I have the continuation of a new build, but they're 3 separate builds within the one build. So, I'm making another gun belt, like you've seen me make previously on the channel, and it's actually going to be almost identical. This particular thing I'm building today, which is the second holster for that gun belt, is actually going to be exactly the same as the one I did for the last gun holster. So the one, if you remember, it had the Dragonfly on it. I'll put a little picture or something on the screen for you. The reason I'm talking on the video today is because this is a completely different build for the same client. These are going to be family mementos. I don't want to film the same exact video as the previous one, you know, the same exact this and that and design and stuff like that. I'm also going to try to cut down the amount of time you watch me stitch, hand stitch. Even though it's time lapse, it's, you know, my videos are really long and they don't really need to be. If you need to know, you know, how to stitch, or you just, you know, like watching that, I have tons of other videos where I'm just hand stitching, and there's tons of videos all over the internet that, you know, guys are just hand stitching, and they film them pretty beautifully. I don't have the time or patience at the moment to do that. I'm completely a one-man show over here. So this one I'm going to film a little bit differently. Hopefully it'll be a lot shorter video. We'll see how this video does, and if you guys like it or not. I would really appreciate a little bit of feedback in the comments below if you would like to see certain things specifically, or, you know, how you would like to see things, I guess. If you know, like the new one where I'm talking to you a little bit and you're not seeing every little detail of everything I do. That's it. We're here. It is currently, I'll tell you what time it is right now. It is 8:30, almost, actually it's 8:36, almost on the nose. So I'm going to get started. So I'm building that Dragonfly holster again. Let me just show you real quick the other holster for the belt, which is the feather one here. This one, you might notice, it's a right-handed holster. You can tell because the loop is here. But this is right-handed. I'm making another right-handed one for one belt. Well, the client requested that this specific holster here be cross-draw. And this one here also has some metal loops in the bottom. And this is going to be tied to the leg, just like a regular gunslinger. So in the belt, when I do that belt video, it's actually going to be exactly the same as the last one too, except it's going to be configured for 2 holsters, so it'll have the 2 bump outs at the bottom, but the same size, same everything. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling because that's what I do. I'm really good at rambling. Alright, so I have a couple things on the bench here. First of all, if you guys see in my time-lapse videos, it looks like I'm banging right onto this surface here. I'm not. I throw this underneath it, or I throw the poundo pad underneath it, and, you know, it's for my pricking iron and punches and stuff. So I'm not going directly into the surface, but what you will notice sometimes, this is my surface. So this is not marble. This is like some weird countertop material. Actually, I think it's made with some form of epoxy. When we bought our new countertops for our house here in Indiana, we decided to go with this, and we were just told, you know, don't cut on it. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. We don't usually cut on our countertops anyway. But it actually works perfect because it doesn't really dull my blades, and, you know, they're all replaceable blades. This is easy to clean. I can sand it. I can throw some acetone on it and clean it, but I only really do that if I get a lot of buildup of like glues and stuff like that. So let me go ahead and explain what else I got here. So I have 2 pieces of edge tan. The holster is going to be made out of, this is a part of a double shoulder hide, and this is part of a belly hide. Normally I would just build the holster out of the bellies because it's thicker leather, but these are almost the same thickness. Plus this is still pretty stiff, so the holster is going to fit on here just nicely, and it's going to bend nicely and all that good stuff. This piece here, because I don't like having leather go to waste, there's going to be a piece that the Dragonfly is on, so I'm not gonna use this quilted piece up here where the belly was stretched, and then it shrink back down, so you have all these I guess stretch marks. But there's a real nice area over here to where I can get it cut out over here, and then I'll be putting this into my laser. The first thing I'm gonna do is go ahead and trace this onto here, and then I'll get the laser working. So let's get started on that. All right, so I'm gonna grab my trusty 8B pencil. The 8Bs, I can barely touch it and I put some mark down, and it comes away real easy. If I used a number 2, I'd have to push really hard, then it dents the leather, all that kind of jazz. So here, I'm just gonna use this, and it won't dent the leather too much. It'll put a nice dark enough line for me to see, and I can erase it and adjust things. So, but I know I'm going to make the holster exactly the same, so I can use the same pattern, which you'll see me pull down another pattern in a minute. So this is just for the art area, and all I'm going to do is I'm just lightly scratching with the pencil here. Oops. I'm just making sure to have at least 3 points of contact on the pattern all times, so even if I do, nudge the paper on one side, it's not moving position. And I probably should have used a better paper or had this lined. I didn't know I was going to be wind up building 2 of the same thing. Otherwise, I would have done it like the actual holster pattern, where I just take art paper, I do my design on that, or the pattern on it, and then just tape it with clear packing tape. It's kind of a poor man's way of laminating things. Kind of hard with regular paper. You don't know if you're drawing on paper or drawing on the leather. So let me get that there, and that looks nice. That came out pretty good. Yeah, and if you remember this sign from last time, this is the piece that goes in the laser with the design. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to kind of mark the back of it, so I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone here. So I'm just putting little markers here. I'm just going to grab standard blue painter's tape. Now you see the bellies are always really hard to get milled right. If you notice, the texture here is kind of furry, and then it's real smooth here. Over here it's real smooth, then it's real furry again. They're not always perfectly milled, so what that means is that the fibers of the leather aren't evenly, I guess, interwoven. So I put the blue painter's tape on it, even if it is milled really well, because what will happen is when you start tooling on it, especially if you start tooling on a lot in one area, that leather will start to actually bowl up like that, and then you've actually changed the shape of the leather. So what this does is it helps just kind of keep the leather in place. And I mean, no matter what, it's still going to change shape just a little bit, but it's within like a good area where you don't have to worry about having to trim it or having to actually even just deal with the leather at all. You can still wind up using it as intended, and what you've cut using that as intended as well. So I'm just going to put this on the back here, and then I am going to give this a squirt here in a minute of just plain old water. But let's go ahead and flip that sucker over. I'm not going to worry about this edge stuff too much right now, but I am going to give myself a bit of clearance for my magnets that go in the laser that just hold this flat so it doesn't blow away with the exhaust fan. And I'm just using a regular knife. If you don't know, I worked with a company called Slice, and they've sent me a lot of their tools, and they use ceramic. With the thinner leathers, I can use the ceramic blades just fine, but with the thicker stuff, it takes a long time to cut one single piece. This is like 2 cuts and I'm done just with steel, but it's just a regular Husky one you can get at Home Depot, foldable, replaceable blades. And when I have to do like precise cuts or going around corners and stuff, I prefer to use a number 11 scalpel. So what I'm doing here is I'm just cutting off most of the excess. And what's cool is, like, you'd think you'd just toss this away, this piece here. I can get some earrings out of it. I can make little pattern or little pieces for bracelets, that sort of thing. So I'm just going to cut off this little bit of bottom right here, just so I don't have to deal with the tape. And then this piece here, I'm just going to kind of do like that. So there's our piece that's going to go into the laser, which my laser is a Glowforge, and it's easy because it's easy for me because all I do is for the design pieces, I use my iPad. I draw out the design on the iPad, then I open up the laptop, import the design to Illustrator, have Illustrator do my vectors, and then I just feed it into the Glowforge cloud. They do all the calculations and measures the height of the leather and all that kind of stuff, the thickness of it. And basically, I'll either have it engrave or score, which is kind of like using a swivel knife, but not really. I still need to use a swivel knife at times, but usually if I just, get the scoring, it goes down just enough, but that line is really fine, and it doesn't kind of, how a swivel knife works, and it kind of spreads the leather open, so when you get your tools in there. I'm just going to use regular old water here, and I'm just going to case the leather. 2 reasons here, and I'm going to let that sit for a second. The reason I'm casing the leather before I put it in the laser, it's going to help keep down soot, and also I'm going to go ahead and use a stylus and just put these lines in here a little bit deeper. I don't always do that, and I don't necessarily have to do that, but it makes me feel a lot more comfortable. Like I said earlier, you can just kind of rub this line off. So I'm going to check to make sure my ball tip over just a hair. There we go. And now I'll line up the top. I'm just going to put a line right here. And you can see how that indented that down. So you can see where the pencil mark was, and then just where the actual leather was. So mark my line here. Just go slow because it's not going to be perfect. But these are going to be your cut lines. I'm going to arch this one around a bit, come down. And once I get this cut out, I'll put a border and stuff, and I'll explain all that. And I'll probably end this section when I put it in the laser, which I'm not going to go over today. You'll just see it when it comes out, and it'll have black lines on it, and there we go. So now it's all traced on there, and I don't have to worry about that going away, because even if I were to let this sit here and dry, and a week later came back, those lines would be exactly as I put in there. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this in the laser, boot up the laptop, get everything going, and I'll be back after a while. We're back, by the way, but I just recorded a whole little bit, and it wasn't even recording. Anyway, I was just saying that I made these corners with this French skiving knife I get from Weaver. They're fairly inexpensive. I think they're like 30 or 40 bucks. And I might get, people in the comments saying you shouldn't use those knives for that. Well, I literally buy them for this because I never skive with these. If I'm going to skive with, like, one of these cheap, like $6 to $10 tools. I don't even remember where I got this, maybe Amazon, but you just put a razor blade in it and just skive and you're done. So all I'm doing is cutting out the lines that I traced, and we notice we got the pattern on there nicely. Right now it's kind of hard to see the line going through the wing. I'm not really worried about this part, but you will notice a discrepancy here in a minute. I'm going to grab the X-Acto blade because I don't want to cut into this leather. I don't care if I cut that leather, but you'll notice the design, like it just disappeared right here. It disappeared on the last one too. So, and it's not because it just magically disappeared. It disappeared because I didn't draw anything right there. Let me just get this last piece cut off, and Bob's your uncle. There we go. So I'm going to take, these are just regular spanners. I'm going to take a little ruler because I move these, I adjust these so much, I just want to make sure that I'm on the right. And I'm going to have a border at about 1/4 inch. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little mark right here at the top, a little mark down here at the bottom, probably a little mark over here, and then I'm going to go ahead and take that line and bring it right down, just like that. Same thing over here, except where that little mark was here, I'm going to stop at that little mark. And then down here, I'm going to do the same thing. So we're just going to drag that through all the way to that line. Sweet, got that part done. I'm gonna get that out the way. And then I'm gonna pull down my jeweler's rouge board, or my edge beveling board, or whatever you want to call it. So this tool here is my swivel knife. I helped Slice Inc. build this tool, and fully adjustable, ball bearinged. These blades are glass infused composite material, so you know their idea is you're not going to cut yourself with it, but it actually does a great job, you know, carving leather. So let me just go ahead and get this polished up, just like a steel blade, but these blades will last you so much longer. Like I've had this one for about a year now, and I've had many of their prototypes for literally about a year apiece, and I never changed the blades. So they're really, really good blades. Whereas the steel ones, they'll start to rust or just get to a point where you can't really use them anymore. So, well, it depends on how you take care of them, but these you don't really, there's not a whole lot to take care of. I mean, so the leather's still pretty good, so I'm not going to wet it again, especially right this moment. And all I'm going to do is just do my line around here. I'm just going to kind of go from the wing here down to the eye, leg, leg, leg. And this line here is just going to be, I'm going to use a bevel shader. So, but on the inside of this is also where I'm going to stitch. On the inside of this line. So I stopped at the wing there. I'm coming up here. And the only reason I'm leaving this line right here, I'm not tooling it, I'm just going to leave that line, just so the stitch will have somewhere to sit inside of. Now we're going to come up here, stop at the tail, and then just bring this line all the way through. Bam, done. Always double check your work. Measure 18 times, cut once. Well, since it's leather, you might have to cut 2 or 3 times, but this piece ready to be tooled, ready to go. I'm throwing it over there. And voila! Just like that, I have my pattern for this gun. This is going to sit in here somewhere. I'm going to throw up my weights. So these little bags are just some cheap chrome tan leather, real thin stuff I had laying around years ago, and I bought a container of BBs and threw it in here and just sewed it up. So we're going to put a little circle there, a little circle there. These are start and end points. What is underneath here? Nothing. Okay. Start and end points for stitching. I didn't poke a hole over here, but I will later. We're not putting a snap on this one. We're just going to put a piece of leather with a loop on it, and I highly advise against doing that, but that's what the client wants. Especially since this one's mostly going to be for show. Like, you can wear it and you can still use it functionally, but the loop actually goes around the hammer of the firearm that's going in here. So I don't like that. You jerk that the wrong way and you wind up cocking that gun, and then you go pulling it out of the holster and shoot your toes off. Sorry if I sound a little nasally. We're supposed to have thunderstorms today and possibly tornado warnings, all that jazz. So the air right now is thick and it's humid and it's actually pretty warm out here. Normally, like later on this week, I think one of the days, Thursday or something, supposed to be, or Wednesday, is supposed to be like 45. Right now it is exactly 70 degrees and it's probably 100% humidity outside. So, okay, right here I'm going to stop right there. See, the pattern just kind of just does that number there. I'm just going to bring this around like so. Did I already get this top piece? Yeah. So I'm going to slide this down now, and I'm just going to roughly mark out these areas here and then free draw the middle line. And these are the holes that the holster will wind up folding in on itself. Alright, bam, all done. So notice I haven't put the tape on the back, but I will start cutting this in a minute. Close enough for a guy like me. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and cut this out, and then I'm going to start doing all the borders and stuff. So I'll time lapse this part for you. Okay, we're back from the time lapse. So yeah, if you saw me using punches, it was just to get the curve without having to. When you're cutting, I'm right-handed, so I'm gonna use a pencil instead of a knife. But when you're cutting this direction and part of the blade's hanging off here, you have the potential of cutting this area right here inadvertently, or I can't even tell you how many times I've done it and had to hide it or completely do it or whatever. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna start poking some holes, and I know I still don't have the blue tape on the back. That's fine. I might cut it off later, but let's just put one right here. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna bend this leather, which is gonna be really hard right now because I haven't cased it at all. And I'm bring this point and this point right together, but make sure that side is kind of just lined up like that. It's not going to be perfect, and it's going to fight you. But I'm going to take a pencil and I'm going to mark a little hole right there because that's where we want the main stitch line. These holes here are starts, and down here will be stops, but or to fold the holster together and sew it together. There will be a decorative one here, especially after I put on the lining. Go ahead and pop these ones in down here at the bottom. And I normally would have had this done in the pattern, but I just brain farted apparently. And so now I'm going to take the biggest punch I have that's from here. This is a 1/4 inch hole. I actually have some Odin tools that are fantastic, but I'm just trying to wear these ones out before I get to those ones. So, and I've already worn a few of these out, so we're getting close. All I'm going to do is line the back up in. I don't even care if it's the right size or not. And I'm just going to poke a hole here. Do another one over here. Oh, look here. Josh, what about this piece? You know what? Who cares about it? Let's go. Can't quite see the back. To me, the important part of this is just the back. So line the backs up. Bam, Bob's your uncle. Now, I'm going to kind of freehand this whole cut. I'm going to go really shallow with the first pass on this. I will tell you, these scalpel blades, they snap all the time, and it scares the crap out of me every time. Almost like if you play guitar and you're jamming out on your guitar and you snap a guitar string. You know it's not the end of the world, but it still scares the crap out of you every time it pops. It's the same kind of feeling. Alright, second pass done. So all we're going to be doing basically here is making these teardrop shapes, and then of course there's a cut in the middle. So. And all I'm doing, I'm not even following this pencil line, just the abouts area. So like this teardrop kind of comes down to here. But what I am doing is I'm coming all the way over to the side of the hole and pulling down that way. Now I'm going to have to wind up doing this again for when I get the liner put on. So if I need to trim off like any little pieces or whatever, it'll happen then, and then I can do some beveling if I decide to do it. Depends on how the edges come out. So bam, all done. Just do the same thing. You see that line is way off from the edge over here, so I'm just going way in over here, pulling down, pulling around, and then up. I already know I didn't do that one perfect, and I'm going to wind up having to trim it because it didn't go to the edge that I wanted it to. So last pass. Well, not last pass, but oh, see? Every time. Every single time. Be careful when you pick these up so you don't cut yourself. You'll cut yourself and you won't even know you cut yourself. But all my main leather, all my main tools, all by the same company, and that be Weaver, because they are the best. I've never gotten a bad hide from Weaver. Did I already start to cut that one? Oh, I did. There we go. Just trimming off the fat there, but you can kind of see there's still some fat there. I mean, it's not really fat, it's just little skin tags, but like right here, this needs to be carved out a little bit more. But I mean, it looks okay. So now we're going to go back to the wing dividers and just keeping good practice. I know I haven't moved them, but I'm just going to double check. 1/4 inch. Okay. Alright, I'm going to let that sit for just a quick second. Let's go ahead and put a border all the way around this sucker. getting around the round parts, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. And I noticed that hole is not quite there, but that's fine. Let's see if these ones are. Yep, okay. So I'll have to fudge that line just a little bit. I'm going to keep going here, even though between here and here, when it's folded, is not going to be sewn, but I'm still going to put, because we can hammer that out and make it smooth later. I'm just going to come to an abouts on this one here. Where's my... One thing you need to always keep on hand, because you're going to inevitably get crap on your leather. I mean, people are saying, oh, don't be very careful not to get this and that on there. Look, you're going to get crap on it, but keep a horsehair brush. And yes, use horsehair because it's stiff. Don't use boar's hair because it's too stiff. But just a regular horsehair, like a shoe polishing brush, and it'll help get that crap off of there. Remember, these are just guides. I feel like I should have to talk like every time I get quiet. I feel like I should say something. So all I'm going to do here is I'm going to make some dots. So there's a dot. I'm going to go about a 1/4 inch, another 1/4 inch this way, 1/4 inch here, 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 and I'm going to do that on all 4 of these areas here. So since we got these pieces established, all I'm going to do is kind of hook my blade into the side there and just draw the straight line without coming off the leather, which is really hard to do. But if you make a mistake here, it's not the end of the world, because again, it's all going to be hidden. So come back around this way, come around this way, and here. And then I'm going to take my trusty 8B, and I'm just going to lightly sketch the loop here so I can make kind of nice rounded corners. Kinda. They'll wind up being very beautiful by the time it's all tooled. And by the way, these pieces are intended for my client's wife, who is a member of the Cherokee Nation, which is kind of cool. So not perfect, but good enough. And I'm actually just going back over them, so I'm pushing just a little bit harder now, and I mean just a little bit harder, but just enough to where it will put an indentation in case I wind up scratching off the graphite off the leather. This line that we already put in here on the edge, that's actually all going to be stitching line. So now I'm going to go another 1/2 inch in, and I'm going to make light little T's on the end here so I know where that corner is. Same thing over here, so I know where that corner is. And actually I'll just go ahead and start right here. And when I get around to this first hole here, I'm going to continue the line, but I'm just not going to push as hard. I'm going to lift up, just puts a nice light line on it, and then push back down when I hit the next line, because I'm eventually going to cover that up with some sort of a texture. Alright, right up to that little cross that we made. So now we're going to come up here, and you'll notice when you're doing this, if your cutting line, when you cut this out, if it wasn't completely vertical, you're going to feel little bumps pushing the tip, the outside tip up and down. So you're going to have to allow enough finesse in your hands to be able to compensate for that. It's a lot easier said than done, because alright, so those lines are done, and I probably should have went a little lighter right here, and you'll see why in just 1 second. I'm going to use this one first. I'm just going to kind of line it up in there, right where I want that. Okay, I'm going to use my pencil. I'm going to draw a line right there. So I'm going to use my ruler here, and this is literally going to be the outline for the art pattern that's going to be sewn directly onto this. I'm going to come down to that line right there, and then I'm going to measure over on this one here. I'm just going to measure 1/4 inch, so I'm going to put a dot there. I think I want to do one more here. These are great gauges. I'm going to just put the barge can here, and I'm going to figure out where the stitch line is, which is right there. I'm going to come around from that stitch line to stitch line. So, and I only want it from, so all I'm going to do, let's get the crap out of my way, is take my can, I'm going to line it up with this hole here, and then I'm going to swivel it to where it's lined up, make sure everything's Just give it some downward pressure and draw your line, and now we have a line. This one was a little skewed. Darned it. Oh, there we go. Okay, so now we have all the lines done. So now I have my two basic pieces. There is one more piece, technically two, that I am going to wind up making. So the other big piece is going to be the liner, and then at the very end I'm going to make a loop, and I'm actually not even going to tie it. I'm going to let them tie it, but I will attach it to the holster. So the next piece you'll see me working on is this one, and it'll be tooling and it'll be time-lapsed. I'll try to get the outline of this all tooled, and then I'll show you how to put a craft date on. Alright, cool. See you in a few minutes. Okay, we're back. Sorry I'm laughing. My daughter's in the house and she's making loud noises. Anyway, this is kind of funny. As you saw, I just finished tooling the art piece. These really small tooling things are super duper hard to do. And I think I kind of learned from the last one, just, you know, keep it more simple. You know, you don't have to hit like every single detail on it, which is fine. you know, that piece is done. Now, I'm going to go ahead and move on to this one. But all this, I'm going to go ahead and time lapse because it's just hammering. And then I might even, well, and carving too. But let me get back to it. And yeah, next you'll see me carving this and tooling this, and it'll be cool. Howdy y'all, so we're back. Just finished tooling the flap. I was sitting here thinking about it. You know, you're really not going to be able to see this flap when the gun is folded through, but it's about consistency for me and trying to make it all beautiful, right? But anyway, there's a few things on here that I just kind of want you all to have a better look at. So I was using a pear shader, a smooth pear shader, a little tiny one to get those little details at the end of the trees there, or leaves, and then a medium-sized pear shader, like right here next to the woody part of the leaf, just a little bit bigger one in the leaf to give it some, you know, wavy texture. Also, some might be wondering, you know, when I go and I do all the detail work for the leaf, you know, I'm just putting in the lines and kind of cart. What's the next tool I use to make it pop out? That tool would be a lifting foot tool. I just hope the camera picks that up, but if you see, the tool itself has kind of a lip on this side. And that lip, when you hammer it down in there, it actually kind of lifts it up. That's why it's called a lifting foot. But that's what kind of pops it up, and you know, you don't necessarily want to do it everywhere because you don't want everything popped out, especially if you want more of kind of a realistic-ish look to a leaf, like, you know, where the leaves are going to bend. That's where you want it lifted because, you know, they're usually lifted if you just look at a leaf on the ground. And then I use the hair blade tool to go through all the woody parts. It is 10 to 3. I've been out here since about 8, and I took about a 30-minute lunch, so it's been a long day. I'm heading inside to maybe I'll go for a ride on the Harley. I don't know. Anyway, I'm done out here though. See you guys tomorrow morning. Well, good morning YouTube. Whew, what a night. A couple other states near us, they got a bunch of tornadoes, and we're supposed to go under a warning this afternoon. I have a feeling we're going to probably be fine, but you know, the news, how they do. They hype everything up. But anyway, it's warm out here today. It's 70 degrees and it's currently 8 o'clock as well. It's probably going to be humid today. I don't know how far I'm going to get on the staining of this, because when it's humid, the stain doesn't want to dry too quickly. I'm going to go ahead and get started here. So I'm back. I don't even know what time it is, but I think it's still morning. So I'm gonna stop for today. I didn't work for very long. All I did was just get the stain on here, and I also have to dump this memory card because it's filling up, which indicates to me that this is going to be another long video. Apologies, folks. The reason I'm stopping today is it's super duper humid. It looks like it's drying pretty good, which it is, but it's also kind of tacky-ish, and I don't want to put any finish on it today just because it's not going to dry properly, and I just don't. Yeah, it's just. Also, we are getting, we just got another tornado warning, so who knows. It looks like it's sunny outside, but I don't know. I'm not too worried about it. So this is, the white here is just pearlescent. I use regular blue and turquoise, and then on the eyes I just use black and a little bit of pearl on it, and then of course, you know, just the medium brown and then dark brown. This color here is just regular old tan. And then the reason I didn't finish this area off first is because the art piece is going to be sewn right on top of it, so you're never going to see it. Doesn't matter. It's all ready to go. I will catch you guys in the morning. Bye-bye. Hoo-wee. Remember when I earlier said I think it's going to get really cold this week? Well, it's not like really, really cold, but I think it's only 40 degrees outside right now. So it's pretty darn cold. I'm back. This is day 3. Also, I found out last night, because I started editing this video, it's probably not going to be much shorter. In fact, because I'm talking to you, it's going to be a little bit longer. So I'm going to have to edit my editing and try to figure out how to make it shorter. We're back at the bench. This is my whole work area. I know everything looks like a complete mess, but I know my own chaos. Anyway, here we go. Guys, real quick, I'm back for just a quick second. I just want to explain where I'm at. I got both the pieces with all the layers on it, the finishing layers, the antiquing layers, and the acrylic layers. So it came out pretty cool, and you know, you can kind of see the color shift in the light. This light is so direct around here in my shop that it's kind of hard to see it. You can just like, oh, it looks like a glittery kind of purple or a glittery kind of turquoise. It's not. It actually shifts color when you get into sunlight and stuff like that. And if you guys want me to do a video on that one of these days, just let me know. I make this stuff. So I got all this stuff done. This one's done here. There's not a whole lot of special effects on this one, although the acorns down here have a little bit, and then the my maker's mark right here. But I just wanted to quickly tell you, I'm gonna let this dry just a little bit more, and then I'm gonna be peeling the tape off the back. I'll be doing the edging process. If you see me looking over here, there's a wasp sitting right here, and I have no idea how it got in here. So I gotta take care of that. See you in just a second. Okay, you just seen me do all the edging on the art piece. I also applied barge to glue the art piece to the rest of the holster. Once it's on there, man, it's pretty much on there. And if I were to let it dry, like not even touch it for like another 24 hours, there's no way that you would ever get this stuff apart. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to punch the holes, and then I'm going to go ahead and sew this turquoise thread that I bought specifically for these projects. And that way it cuts a whole bunch of time out. Once that's done, I'm going to go ahead, punch all these holes that go all the way around, and I'm not going to time lapse that. So the next time you see me, all that's going to be done. And I also need to put the liner on it. That'll be just a few seconds for you, and it'll probably be an hour for me. So I'll be right back. I told you it'd just be a second for you. I don't think it was even quite an hour. It was probably like maybe 20 minutes. I got the art piece sewn on. So what I have here in front of me that you can't see right this second is one of Weaver's mystery goat hides. It just happens to be black, which just happens to be perfect for these holster builds. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to slap some glue here, and then I'm going to slap some glue here, and then I'm just going to slap them together, and then I'll start to sew the top here. Okay, it's all done. It's hailing outside. It's been hailing on and off for about 15 minutes right now. No tornado warnings, no thunderstorm warnings. The weather actually called for a little bit of rain and a little bit of hail today, so it's to be expected. Got the liner glued on. I'm probably going to call it right here today, and then tomorrow we'll finish this up and make... Excuse me while I still wake up. I kind of just woke up and came out here, so give me just a second. So, good morning, YouTube. It's probably a little after 9. I don't know. I just know I'm tired still. Crazy dreams last night, man. Anyway, it's also cold. Like, it was like 80 something the other day. I go figure. I don't understand this place. California, if they hit 80, you know you're pretty much going to be staying in the 80s for probably 2 weeks, and then it's going to go 115. And if it's fall and you're in the 80s, you're pretty much going to stay there for 2 weeks, and then it's going to drop down to freezing and rain, and then you know you're in winter. So back on the holster, the lining's all glued up. I'm going to go ahead and get this cut off. I'm going to get right to it because I started editing the video last night. It's 48 minutes long so far. I'm so sorry. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get this cut off, and then I'm going to start punching holes. Actually, I'm not going to time-lapse any of these holes. I'll time-lapse some of these down here, but that's it. It's my only plan today is to finish up this holster. First, we cut. I time-lapse the cut. Back, I call it a decorative stitch, but it really is also holding on the liner. So I got that done, and I even stitched around the slots that the holster slides through. So I'll go ahead and just show you that now. So here's the decorative stitch, and then the stitches for that. This is what it looks like on the back in the liner area. If you want to watch that kind of stitching stuff, as a matter of fact, I did it on the last Dragonfly holster I built. Although I think on this holster, I'm going to deviate. I'm going to do something different. It doesn't want to line up because this is too stiff. What I could do though is just right along here, I could build a gusset. A thin one even would help. I could just even use the ugly part of the belly. It doesn't even matter. it would help it be just that much thicker, which would be a little bit helpful, but it means I'd have to punch a bunch more holes, which, whatever. If I gotta punch the holes, I gotta punch the holes. Actually, I just debated. I think I might go ahead and build the gusset. So I'll time-lapse all of that. I'll go ahead and get it sewn up, and then we'll start doing some edging. Before I do this though, I am going to do edging here and here, because once it's all folded, it's gonna be a little hard to do right here.
So, here we go!
We're back. I just finished building the holster. Did you happen to see those edges, man? They're like glass. They're super shiny. I mean, I did sand the crap out of them, but they came out really well. This lace here, I'm not tying it. I don't want to be responsible for the misfire of the gun, but it also needs to be sized for when the firearm is in the holster and the client wants to put the loop over the hammer. So it's on there. I'm just not tying it on. Other than that, the whole thing is finished. I hope you like it. As far as I'm concerned, I think it came out pretty darn good. I'm gonna go grab a latte, do some socials, work on this video. So I will see you in the next video. God bless all of you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please leave your comments down below. Leave a like. Help a brother out. But I would really like to hear your guys' feedback. I would just love to hear from you guys, even if you go, that's great, you know, which that's usually what my comments consist of. Other than one guy didn't like my music, but oh well. Can't please everybody. Again, God bless everybody. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.